All right, let's dive into this exciting world of modern aerospace, shall we? We're going to be talking about companies like Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, and of course the one everyone's talking about, SpaceX.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating time for space travel, almost like a renaissance, if you will.
A renaissance, I like that. And to guide us through this, we've got the insights of Curt Robbins, right?
You got it. Curt Robbins, a senior technical writer with quite the background.
Seriously impressive resume.
Yeah.
FedEx, Microsoft, even Northrop Grumman, he knows his stuff.
He does, he does. What's interesting about Robbins is that he doesn't just look at space in isolation, he connects it to other industries, like the history of aviation, for example.
Makes sense, right? You can learn a lot from looking at how other fields have evolved. So let's talk about this renaissance Robbins keeps mentioning. What makes the modern aerospace industry so different, so groundbreaking?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with reusability. Reusable rockets, that is. It's a complete game changer. For decades, rockets were single use, launch them once, and they're space junk.
Yeah, talk about expensive.
Exactly. But companies like SpaceX, with their Falcon 9, they've shown that not only can you build a rocket that can go to space and back, but it's actually more efficient.
It's like the difference between, I don't know, a horse and buggy and a car. A fundamental shift.
That's a great analogy. Reusability has the potential to revolutionize space travel, just like the automobile did for transportation here on Earth.
So cheaper launches, more frequent missions, and well, that opens up a whole universe of possibilities, doesn't it? But it can't be easy to build a rocket that can survive multiple trips to space and back. That's going to be a huge technological challenge.
Oh, absolutely. It's a massive engineering feat. Robbins highlights the research going on at places like MIT's Aero-Astro program. They're developing all these cutting-edge materials that can withstand the incredible stresses and heat of spaceflight.
Wow, so it's kind of like the breakthroughs in material science that had to happen before we could have safe and reliable jet travel?
Exactly. It's a similar kind of evolution, but in the realm of aerospace. And it's not just about the materials themselves, it's about the design, the engineering, the whole approach to building rockets.
So this reusability thing, it's not just about saving money, it's driving innovation on a whole other level.
Absolutely. And that's where companies like SpaceX are really pushing the envelope. I mean, they're not just content with launching satellites, they're building the Starlink constellation for global internet coverage.
And let's not forget Starship, their ambitious program for, wait for it, Mars colonization.
Right. It's almost like they're trying to make science fiction a reality. SpaceX is definitely pushing the limits of what's technologically possible.
It's wild. But SpaceX isn't the only player in the game, right?
Yeah,
We've got Blue Origin, and they're focusing on a different angle.
right. Blue Origin, they're all about space tourism, making space accessible to, well, to more than just astronauts.
Yeah, it's like the commercialization of space is really taking off. It's not just about government-funded programs anymore. It's about creating new industries and markets.
Precisely. Robbins really emphasizes this shift from a government-led space race to a more entrepreneurial, commercially driven model. And that's attracting a lot of investment, leading to even faster innovation. It's really an exciting time to be following this.
It really is. And then there's Rocket Lab. Where do they fit into all of this?
Rocket Lab, they've kind of carved out this niche for themselves, launching small satellites, which is a growing market in itself.
Right, right.
But they're not just standing still, they're developing the neutron rocket, designed to handle larger payloads and even human-rated missions. So they're evolving too, right alongside these other giants.
So it's like this whole space renaissance is creating this ripple effect, pushing not just the aerospace companies, but all these related industries and research fields forward. It's amazing.
Exactly. Think about the advancements in materials, propulsion systems, the software. All of this is being pushed forward because of this drive for space exploration. And who knows what other applications these innovations might have, right?
It's like the Apollo program back in the day. It wasn't just about going to the moon. It spurred so much innovation in other areas, like computing, materials, science, even food preservation.
Right, right. And I think we're seeing a similar kind of thing happening now. This modern space renaissance has the potential to create a wave of innovation that we haven't even fully grasped yet. It's pretty inspiring, you know?
It is inspiring. And it's not just about the technology. It's about capturing the public imagination. It's like the Apollo missions. They inspired a whole generation of scientists and engineers. And now, this new era of space exploration, it's doing the same thing on a global scale. It's sparking dreams and ambitions in people all over the world.
It's not just about reaching for the stars anymore. It's about what we can do when we get there.
That's a great point.
Mm.
But with all this talk about progress and innovation, Are there any potential downsides to this rapid advancement in aerospace? I mean, it can't all be sunshine and roses, right?
Right. Well, Robbins doesn't really focus on this aspect, but it's definitely something we need to be thinking about. I mean, increased space traffic, for example. That raises concerns about space debris and the need for, sustainable practices. We don't want to turn space into a giant junkyard.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Hmm.
We need to make sure this space renaissance benefits all of humanity while also protecting the space environment for future generations. It's a delicate balance.
Absolutely. We need to be thinking about things like regulations, safety protocols, and the ethical implications of expanding our presence in space. It's not just about getting there, it's about doing it responsibly.
That's so important. And this brings up another point that Robbins touches on, the global nature of this space renaissance. It's not just a handful of countries leading the charge anymore. We're seeing nations like New Zealand, through companies like Rocket Lab, becoming key players in the industry.
That's right. And this global collaboration is bringing so much to the table, new perspectives, expertise, resources. It's not just about national pride anymore. It's about a shared human ambition to explore the cosmos.
So what does all this mean for the average person? How does this space renaissance impact our lives here on Earth? It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of space travel and forget about the down-to-earth implications.
That's where it gets really interesting. It's amazing to think about how much we rely on space technology without even realizing it. Like, just think about
Oh,
GPS.
I know. I'd be lost without it, literally.
Right. It started as this military thing, and now we use it for everything.
Right.
Navigation, tracking packages, even just finding a good restaurant.
Seriously, it's become so essential.
And this is just the beginning. As this whole space thing keeps growing, Robbins talks about even more mind-blowing possibilities, like space-based solar power, beaming clean energy back to Earth. Can you imagine?
Whoa, that would be incredible. Solving our energy problems from space, that's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? And as it gets cheaper to launch stuff into space, we could even start mining asteroids for resources. Like, think about rare Earth minerals, things we're running out of here on Earth.
That's pretty wild. But wouldn't that kind of shift the balance of power, globally? Like whoever controls those space resources would have a huge advantage.
Absolutely, that's a huge factor. As space becomes more accessible, we've got to think about the geopolitical implications. It's not just about science and technology anymore, it's about resources, economics, maybe even conflict.
It's like we're entering this whole new era with all these incredible opportunities, but also these potential risks that we need to be really careful about.
Exactly. And Robbins, he doesn't really dwell on this, but there are ethical considerations too. Like space tourism, it sounds amazing, but what about the environmental impact? We don't want to just repeat the mistakes we made here on Earth.
You're so right. It's easy to get caught up in all the excitement and forget about being responsible. We need to make sure this space exploration benefits everyone, not just a privileged few, and that we're protecting the environment up there, just like we should be down here.
Exactly. And another question is, who gets to be a part of all this? Right now, it's mostly private companies from wealthy nations leading the way. How do we make sure developing countries and underrepresented communities aren't left out?
It's like we need to be really intentional about creating a future where everyone has a chance to benefit from this space thing, not just the same old players.
I totally agree. Robin's work, it really makes you think beyond just the cool rockets and gadgets. It's
Yeah.
about the big picture, the social, ethical, even philosophical implications of expanding into space.
He definitely gives us a lot to think about. It's not just about the technology. It's about what it means to be human in this vast universe.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole era so exciting. It's not just about pushing the limits of what we can do, but also about exploring what it means to be human and understanding our place in the cosmos.
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. And at the end of the day, the choices we make now are going to determine what this space future looks like, not just for us, but for generations to come.
That's so true. It's a huge responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity.
Robin's insights have been really eye-opening, from those amazing reusable rockets to all those ethical questions we need to grapple with.
He's given us a lot to digest, that's for sure. But he's also left me feeling optimistic. Like, this space renaissance has the potential to be something truly transformative for humanity if we do it right.
I agree. It's a future where maybe we're traveling to Mars, mining asteroids, harnessing the sun's energy from space, all these things that sound like science fiction, but could actually become reality. The line between Earth and space is getting blurrier all the time, and the possibility, they just seem endless.
They do.
Yeah.
But we've got to remember this future isn't set in stone. It depends on the choices we make, how we approach this expansion into space. It's about being responsible, being inclusive, and never losing sight of the big picture.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the modern aerospace industry, I hope everyone listening is as excited about the future of space as we are.
It's a future full of challenges, for sure, but also incredible possibilities.
And the best part is, we all have a role to play in shaping this future. Whether you're an aspiring astronaut, a brilliant engineer, a visionary entrepreneur, or just someone who looks up at the night sky and feels a sense of wonder.
This space renaissance belongs to all of us.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep dreaming big. The future of space is out there,